Up until this point, our computer or our system doesn't really matter. You might tell that I'm using a Mac. Well, the Apple icon in the corner probably gives it away. But if you're on a Windows, we just did the exact same things that you would be doing. In fact, with AngularJS, the majority of things don't matter what system you're on. It only matters what browser you end up using. And most web browsers, most modern web browsers, use JavaScript and therefore will support Angular. If you're using a modern browser, you can feel good that it probably works with Angular. So that's something to think about. Now, what I want to do now is open up the downloads folder, or where I stored angular.min.js, and I'm going to make my own new folder on my desktop where I'm going to be doing our development project. I'm going to make a new folder in here, and I'm going to call it Try Angular. And that folder is going to be the basis for what we put on GitHub. So now in here, I'm going to make another new folder, and I'm going to say JS, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag in my Angular code in there. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that, and now I have my JS folder as well as my Angular code. Not a whole lot going on here. So what I want to do now is open up my terminal window. Now, if you're new to terminal, this is something that is going to be a little bit different for you. Especially if you are not familiar with coding at all. But if you are familiar with coding, this is something that you would know really a lot about. So if you're not familiar with terminal and you want to know how to get to this and all the setup process and stuff like that, definitely check out our YouTube channel. So it's at http://joincfe.com/YouTube, and go through the setup process there. It's going to set up Python and Django on whatever system you're on, and it will show you the general things about terminal as well as command prompt if you're on Windows. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that you already know some stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and change into my desktop with CD desktop. That works on both systems. And I'm going to go ahead and change into Try Angular, that new folder I created for this project. So I just jumped into this folder. And now what I want to do is actually just open this up. See, it's really easy. Didn't do a whole lot, but I just want to show you that we are going to be using the terminal a little bit to make sure that we get certain things going. So if you're on a Windows or Mac and you just do, if you're on a Mac or Linux and you do touch index.html, it will actually create that file for you. If you're on a Windows, it's a little bit more complicated, so it's actually a lot easier to just set up your Sublime Text project, which is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and go into Sublime Text. We're going to go into Project, and I'm going to go to Save Project As, and then I'm going to go back into my desktop into Try Angular, and I'm going to call this the Try Angular 1.5 Sublime project. And then now project, we want to add folder to project. We are going to also add that same folder, open. And the last thing I want to do is I want to see the sidebar. So I'm going to go ahead and show the sidebar. And now I've got that folder. So if I double click on AngularJS again, notice it has two different locations. So I'm going to close out that old one and not save anything. So, and here, this is where if I delete this index file and go into the triangular folder and save it with Command S or File Save, we're going to go index.html. And there we go. So we've got some basic stuff set up. This is setting up our general project. Of course, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff here, but this is where we're going to be working here on out. And every once in a while, we'll actually go into the terminal window itself. So we will see you in the next one.